Okay, this is section 4.2a. I'm going to introduce you to another method of solving a system of equations. It's called substitution. So by the end of this section, you should be able to determine which method of solving a system of linear equations may be easier depending on the problem. You should be able to solve simultaneous linear equations algebraically, and you should be able to create a system of linear equations to model a real-world problem, solve the problem, and interpret the solution in context. Number 3 is all about word problems. All right, so we're going to try to solve this one by graphing. That's what we learned last week. So these are both in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and graph these. I'm going to start at 2 for the first one, and the slope is 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3 over 1, and then do the opposite on the other side of the initial value. There's our first one. Now I have y equals negative 5. Starting at the origin for that one. All right, graph looks pretty good. Let's look at this graph though. There are some reasons why graphing is not always the best method. If you should move your ruler over a little, you might not get an accurate point of intersection is one thing, but the main thing here is the intersection isn't a whole number. So there are some other ways that I'm going to show you to find the solution. So let's start out with shapes. Okay, so we're going to find the value of each shape. It already tells us this is 5, right? Tells us right here. So I'm going to make C for circle. I have 2 circles, 2 C's, plus a 5 equals 25. We can solve that to isolate C, and we can find what the value of a circle is. So let's get rid of that 5 by subtracting 5. So I have 2C equals 20. And when I divide by 2 to isolate C, I get C is 10. So each one of those circles is 10. So all we did is substitute that 5 in for the square. So how did you determine the circle's value? I substituted 5 in for the square. And then we solved. And solved for C. All right. See what's next here. So this time, we don't get an exact value. We know that 2 circles and a square is 18, and a circle and a square is 10. So take a moment and see if you can figure this one out. So I have a circle and a square, and I have a circle and a square here. So if I take this circle and a square and I substitute in 10, because right down here it said the circle and the square is worth 10, then I have a circle plus 10 equals 18. So if I subtract 10 from each side, I know that a circle is worth 8. So if I go back down here to the bottom, now with my new information, I know that a circle is 8. Let me get a pen back. This is 8. So I have 8 plus a square equals 10. And to isolate the value of a square, I'm going to subtract 8. I have the square is 2. So you substituted in the values. Thus the name. I substituted 10 for a circle plus a square in the first one. let's go to number 3. So this is telling me that I have 2 circles and 2 squares is 20, and that 2 circles and 1 square is 17. So I can replace this with 17, because it tells me 2 circles and a square is 17. So I have 17 plus a square, I'm going to make it s, equals 20. So I'm going to subtract 17 to get the square all by itself. So the square is 3. So if I go back here and replace that, I have 2 circles and a square, which is 3, is 17. So I'm going to subtract 3. So I have 2 circles is 14. And then I'm going to divide by 2 to isolate the circle. And I have the circle is 7. So to get the value of the square, I replaced circle, circle, square with 17, and then I solved for the square. Then to get the circle, I substituted my new value for square into the square. All right. So let's find the value of these shapes. I have 3 triangles equal 27, and I have a triangle and a square equals 8. So 3 triangles, or 3t equals 27. If I divide by 3, I can find out what one of them is. So one triangle is 9. 9, 9, 9. And I can replace 1. So I have 9 plus a square equals 8. Then I'm going to subtract 9 to isolate the square. And I have the square as -1. So how did we do that? We took 27 and divided it by 3 to get one triangle, and then we replaced the value of the triangle into the second equation. Okay, moving right along. Number 5, I have 2 stars equals 16, 2 stars and 2 triangles equals 26. So I have 2 stars equals 16. If I divide each side by 2, I have 1 star is 8. So I'm going to put these 8s in here. So I have 16, that's 8 plus 8, plus 2 triangles equals, oops, go back, 26. So I'm going to subtract 16. So I have 2 triangles equals 10. And then when I divide by 2, I have 1 triangle has a value of 5. So you're finding one value, substituting it in for the other. All righty. Let's see what fun we have now. Number 6 says I have 2 stars plus 3 circles equals 19. And I have 2 stars and 1 circle equals 13. So I'm going to take these 2 stars in a circle, and I know they're 13. So now I have 13 plus 2 circles equals 19. If I subtract 13 from both sides, I have 2c equals 6. If I divide each side by 2, I have 3. So the circle is 3. So let's go to this equation. I have 2 stars plus 3 equals 13. I'm going to subtract 3 from each side. So I have 2 stars equals 10. I'm going to divide by 2. So the star is 5. Number 7. All right. This one is interesting because we don't get a second number. We have a circle plus a square is 30, and a square equals 2 circles. So what I'm going to do is on the top, every square that we have, I'm going to replace it with 2 circles, because we know the bottom tells us that 1 square is 2 circles. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles equals 30. So when I divide by 5, the value of a circle is 6. So I know a square is 6 plus 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So a square is 12. They're getting kind of tricky. All right, let's see what the next one says. Now I have a circle plus a triangle plus a triangle is 16. And a circle plus a circle equals 2 triangles, a triangle plus a triangle plus 4. I'm going to take what these 2 circles are equal to and replace them. So it says 2 circles are equal to a triangle plus a triangle plus 4. So now I have 4 triangles plus 4 equals 16. I'm going to subtract 4. So 4t equals 12. And when I clear out the 4 by dividing, the value of a triangle is 3. So now I'm going to replace the triangles with 3 down here. So I have 2 circles equals 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 4 is 10. If I divide by 2, the value of a circle is 5. Okay, let's look at this one. I know that 2 squares plus a star is 21. So I'm going to take 2 squares plus a star, replace it with 21, 2 squares plus a star, and replace it with 21. So I have 42 equals 42. The answer to this one would be infinitely many solutions. Any number would work in there. All right, so now we get to draw a picture. Okay, so I'm going to have x be a square and y equal a circle. So I have 3 x's plus 2 y's equals 41. Now I have 2 y's equal 8. So now I'm going to replace that with 8, because I know 2 circles are 8. So I have 3x plus 8 equals 42. When I subtract 8, Mrs. B made a copying error. Problem said 41, not 42. So when I subtract 8 from 41, I get 33. So I have 3 x's equal 33. If you divide by 3, I have x is 11. All right? So now, we know that 2 y's equal 8. So if we divide by 2, oh, all right. There we are. Y is 4. So my point is 11, 4. All right, number 11. So this is the last one we're going to draw. Oh no, we're going to draw a couple more. So let's leave x as the square and y as the circle. So I have 2 x's, x square plus circle equals 9. And then I have a square plus a circle equals 5. So if we replace the square and circle with 5, we have a square plus 5 equals 9. So subtract 5. The square is 4.